Tonight, when the sun goes down, you'll flip a switch. Light floods the room, and you won't think twice. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark. Dark enough that you couldn't see your own hand. Modern humans almost never experience this. For over 300,000 years, every one of your ancestors spent roughly half their life in near total darkness, most of it without even candles. Just the black sky, the stars, and whatever fire they could keep alive. So what did they do with all those hours? The answer reshapes what we think we know about sleep, storytelling, and what it means to be human. Fire changed everything. The earliest solid evidence of controlled fire comes from Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, roughly 1 million years ago. Before fire, our ancestors lived like every other primate. When the sun went down, you found a sheltered spot and stayed still, because moving at night meant becoming food. Our night vision is nothing compared to the predators hunting us: leopards, hyenas, wolves. Fire changed that instantly. A campfire creates a rough 30-foot circle of safety. Inside it, predators keep their distance. Outside it, you're in danger, and anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherers have documented that people who wander from the fire at night are still far more likely to be killed by predators today. But fire's biggest gift wasn't just safety, it was time. Before fire, the useful day ended at sunset, maybe 12 hours in summer, as few as 8 in winter. Fire added 2 to 4 extra hours to every day. Over thousands of generations, those hours changed our species. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Weissner published a study in PNAS after years spent recording conversations among the Jew/Huansi Bushmen of the Kalahari, one of the last groups living close to the ancestral human lifestyle. During the day, about 80% of conversation was practical: logistics, complaints, who's hunting where. But at night, around the fire, the tone flipped entirely. 81% of nighttime conversation was stories, myths, distant adventures, jokes that made the whole camp laugh. Wiesner argued that firelight conversation is where human culture was born. The original theater, the original classroom, the original church. It's where we learn to imagine things that don't yet exist. It's where we became us. But the night held something else too. You weren't designed to sleep the way you sleep now. In 2001, historian Roger E. Kirch published findings from 16 years of research into historical records. Over 500 references across prayer books, court documents, diaries, medical texts, even Homer's Odyssey, all describing first sleep and second sleep. Before the industrial age, people didn't sleep in one block. They went to bed shortly after sunset, slept about 4 hours, woke for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, then slept another 4 hours until dawn. This wasn't insomnia, it was simply normal. What did people do during that waking window? Nearly everything. A 16th century French physician recommended it as the ideal time for couples to conceive. People visited neighbors, interpreted fresh dreams, wrote, or just lay in the dark and thought. A 1500s doctor's manual called it the watch, the quiet hours best suited for reflection, when the mind was calm and the world was still. For centuries, historians had actually mistranslated these references, unable to imagine people once slept any differently than we do now. Then science caught up with history. In 1992, psychiatrist Thomas Weir at the National Institute of Mental Health ran an experiment. He stripped a group of volunteers of all artificial light for a month, giving them 14 hours of nightly darkness, roughly what life was like before fire extended the evening. Within weeks, every participant settled into the same rhythm on their own: 4 hours of sleep, 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness, then 4 more hours of sleep. Nobody suggested it. Their bodies simply reverted to an ancient pattern. During that wakeful stretch, Weir found elevated prolactin, the same hormone released during meditation and after orgasm. Participants described the state as peaceful, reflective, almost meditative, a distinct state of consciousness most modern people have never experienced. So what killed it? Light. In the 1600s, cities began installing street lamps. Paris was among the first under Louis XIV, aiming to cut crime. London followed. The night, once dangerous, slowly became navigable. Cheaper candles came next, then gas lamps in the 1800s, and in 1879, Thomas Edison commercialized the electric bulb. Within a generation, the night humans had known for 300,000 years was gone. Here's a detail most people miss. The word curfew comes from the French couvre-feu, literally cover fire. In medieval towns, a bell rang each night signaling everyone to smother their fires because night was supposed to be dark. It was when you slept, when you were vulnerable. Walking outside after dark without a lantern was illegal in many medieval European cities. Night belonged to criminals and the supernatural, feared in a way that's hard for us to grasp now. And then we conquered it. We flooded the dark with light and called it progress. But here's what it cost us. Modern humans now get 7 to 8 hours of artificial light exposure after sunset. That light, and especially blue light from screens, suppresses melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep. Your body can't tell a light bulb from the sun. Light hitting your retina at 11 p.m. reads as daytime daytime, delaying melatonin, fragmenting sleep, disrupting a rhythm that evolved over millions of years. Yet researchers have found that just 1 week of camping with zero artificial light resets people's melatonin cycles by nearly 2 hours. Their bodies start producing it at sunset again. That's all it takes for 300,000 years of programming to reassert itself. We didn't just change when we sleep, we erased an entire phase of human consciousness, that quiet, reflective window between first and second sleep, the one VAERS subjects described as almost meditative. It barely exists for anyone anymore. Instead, we call it insomnia and treat it as a disorder. But what if it isn't? What if waking at 2 a.m. and lying there in the dark isn't malfunction? It's memory. For 300,000 years, your ancestors spent their nights this way, gathered around fires telling the stories that built civilizations, sleeping in 2 phases with a pocket of stillness between them, living under skies so dark the Milky Way was just the sky. Every night in that quiet window between first and second sleep, they lay there and thought about their lives, their dreams, and the world they'd wake up to. We traded all of that for a light switch, and most of us never even noticed it was gone.